Well, all right. Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Monday afternoon here. Now, let's dive into some of the day's top stories. And let's begin this afternoon with a story and a bit of state news. Auburn Tigers men's basketball head coach Bruce Pearl has announced he will retire. Now, Pearl's son Steven will now lead the charge as the Auburn Tigers head basketball coach for this upcoming season. Bruce Pearl, a four-time SEC Coach of the Year, is the all-time winningest coach in Auburn men's basketball history, with 3 SEC regular season championships and 2 SEC tournament championships. He led Auburn to 4 NCAA tournament appearances, making it to the Final Four in 2 separate seasons. Steven Pearl, his son, has been with the program for 12 years and has been the associate head coach since 2023. And 48's Carl Prather will have more on this coming up in our evening newscasts, the legacy of Bruce Pearl, as well as what it means for the Tigers, with Steven Pearl now at the helm, so make sure to stick around for our evening newscast for all the latest. But now moving over to the weather, we're hearing that potential storms could be moving their way into the valley later this week. 48 First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer for what we can expect. Jeff?
Very good Monday afternoon to everybody. Some much needed rainfall falling across the Tennessee Valley. Showers and storms that aren't severe, producing some heavy rainfall. A lot of lightning for areas, especially in Coleman County right now. And we need the rainfall, so this is a good thing. And if you miss out today, there'll be other opportunities for the week ahead. There's the radar right now. You can see some of the heaviest of rain lifting up I-65, just about to make it into the Hartselle area. Vinemont, some heavy rainfall just to the west of you in Eva. This will continue to track north and northeast, probably just clipping Decatur here shortly. And also some heavy rain up towards Hazel Green, New Market. These are all just clusters of showers and thunderstorms that are not severe, but producing some pretty heavy rainfall along 231 right now when you cross over the Tennessee-Alabama state line. Also up towards Fayetteville, at least Park City getting some heavy rainfall, and then some rain back into Decatur, but the really heavy stuff is south of you, and that's where you're getting some more reports of lightning strikes there in Coleman County. And again, this is all lifting off to the north and east. What the storms did was it took temperatures that were at 90 degrees and just shaved them right off. A lot of 70s and 80s mixed in out there. The one thing that has happened here for the first day of fall is that it's really humid. It doesn't feel fall-like at all. You got these afternoon showers and storms, humidity, warm temperatures, and the feel of fall is certainly missing on the first day. Tonight, any storms that will back off early were warm, muggy, partly cloudy, right around 70 degrees tonight. Slight chance of some showers and storm Tuesday, probably more for our Middle Tennessee viewers. And then we ramp up the rain opportunities for Wednesday and Thursday with more clouds and rain in the forecast. That could be heavy at times. That will hold the temperatures down. And by Thursday, we're only around 80 degrees. Rain will back off Friday and stays cool. And right now, the weekend looks simply delightful with a mix of sun and clouds Saturday, mostly sunny Sunday, and high temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s.
All right, that's certainly good to know, Jeff. Thank you. And also don't forget First Alert Weather Extra. That is tonight at 9:30. You can watch Weather Extra wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon. But First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer, he'll be back here in the streaming center and he'll have all the latest that he is seeing on the radar. You're just not going to want to miss it. Leave a comment, leave any of your thoughts, concerns, some questions you might have. Jeff will shout you out and he will work to answer your question. He always has a great time with it, so you're just not going to want to miss it. Weather Extra. But now moving over to Madison County, a man pled guilty to murder today in connection with a fatal shooting back in 2022. Now, Sean Burns, that's who you're seeing on screen, was accused of fatally shooting Brandon Craig on Lockport Drive in March of 2022. Officers say Craig was shot multiple times and he was pronounced dead on the scene. Burns was sentenced to 25 years behind bars. And in Harvest, where a former Limestone correctional officer was sentenced to 15 months in prison for bribery as part of a plea agreement today. Back in 2022, investigators launched a probe into corrections officers suspected of smuggling contraband into Limestone Correctional in Harvest. As part of that investigation, they obtained Cash App records tied to John Ketteman's account. Authorities say those records revealed that in less than 3 months, Ketteman was paid more than $10,000 to smuggle contraband into the facility as to act as a lookout. And we'll have all the latest on this situation coming up in our evening newscast. But now we're going to head to break, but coming up, how members of the Huntsville community remembered political activist Charlie Kirk on the day of his funeral yesterday. An awesome story on a 17-year-old Hartselle man preparing to bike over 400 miles. And taking a first look at the 48 game of the week, now in week 5 of the high school football season. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the Four. Now to a story in case you missed it out of Huntsville yesterday. Members of the Huntsville community gathered yesterday afternoon to remember political activist Charlie Kirk on the day of his funeral. 48's Noah Cowell was there at the vigil and has more.
A few dozen people gathered right here at Big Spring Park earlier this morning, saying it's really important for them to all be unified right now. They believe this is a critical time in this country. Around 40 people gathered Sunday morning, where they prayed, sang, and talked to one another about how they remember Charlie Kirk. Among the attendees, a representative from a local branch of Turning Point USA, the political action group Kirk founded when he was just 18 years old.
People wanted to express their opinions and beliefs and what they had felt strongly about Charlie in a positive way, and be able to open the discussion, and they can honor him by remembering what they liked most and what he said that really struck their heart.
The woman who organized this event, Karen Lauer, says political division has worsened so much over recent years that she's kept her politics to herself. But after Kirk was killed, she felt it was time to speak out.
Charlie, and watching him, I was like, it gave me hope. And then being here today with all these wonderful people, our country's going to get back on the right path.
Now, Lauer believes this is the time to come together and get young people front and center.
And a lot of people don't feel that unity anymore as a people, as we the people, they don't feel it. And as we unite under this cause, we're feeling that unity today.
Lauer and the Turning Point representatives say these crowds coming together are a great sign moving forward for the younger generation, especially as we see people on college campuses standing up for what they believe in. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
Now this week in sports, we're heading into week 5 of the high school football season. And our game of the week for this week is none other than the Falkville Blue Devils heading to Colbert Heights to take on the Wildcats. Should be an exciting one out there in Colbert Heights now in week 5. And of course, we'll be there at Colbert Heights for our 48 tailgate tour. You're just not going to want to miss it. That is Friday at 5:35 for our digital show. But of course, it will be in in our 4, 5, and 6 newscasts as well, but should be an exciting game there. But now take a look at this. A 72-year-old man in Hartselle is preparing to take quite the journey on his bike. He's no stranger to long bike rides either. 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy introduces us to Russ Gordon. Let's take a look.
Decades ago, I read a book about the Natchez Trace and its history, and it fascinated me. There's so much history along that trail. It's a bicycle trail. And when I learned that, I decided that's on my bucket list. I am going to ride that trail one of these days on a bicycle. And then life happened, and now here I am, 72 years old, but I'm going to do it while I still can.
Although Russ Gordon has taken many long trips on his bikes over the years, this Natchez Trace Trail will be one of his biggest trips yet.
I read a book by two young men who were still teenagers, I think, when they wrote the book, titled Do Hard Things. And I got to thinking about that, and that's kind of what I've done a lot of my life. Army, jumping out of airplanes, just, you know, demanding a lot from myself. I do hard things to be an inspiration, especially to my grandchildren.
Gordon tells me that he tries to maintain a young perspective in life. When he's not cycling, he's maintaining a Christmas tree farm, delivering newspapers, tutoring children, and even playing Santa. Gordon says that he's dedicating this adventure to a special teenager who died 2 years ago.
Dory Lawrence lived in Clanton, Alabama as a very young child, and growing up, Santa Judd Messer was her Santa. And when she was about 7 years old, Judd passed away. And her mom contacted me and asked me if I would be her Santa.
Gordon tells me that he sat with Dory during that funeral service, and over the years, he would look for other opportunities to see her.
Once at Dollywood, she went with a school trip there, and I happened to be in Gatlinburg at a Santa conference. And so I just drove right on over and spent half a day with her going through Dollywood riding rides with a 5th grader. It was wonderful. So she had a profound influence on my life. She made me want to be a better Santa, a better person. She was so full of life, and nobody would know from looking at her that she was suffering from depression.
When Dory was just 14 years old, she took her own life. Now Gordon is hoping with this bike trip, he can use it as an opportunity to raise money to a local suicide prevention group.
I hope to do what I can as a Santa Claus figure and as an individual to help raise awareness to those problems, because I don't ever want another child who has sat on my knee to go down that road.
Wow, how incredible of a story that is, and I wish him the best of luck on this bicycle journey through 3 states, 400 miles on Natchez Trace. That is quite the feat, but I know he can without a doubt do it. Awesome story there. And speaking of which, let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. Taking a look at the school bus passing issues in the Shoals, 48's Aria Pons will have more on that coming up. Local high schoolers heading to the Duke's Career and Innovation Academy for a little advice on what skills employers are looking for when hiring for jobs. 48's Will Eldridge will have those details coming up, and speaking with Huntsville drivers on their thoughts when it comes to the construction and road work we've been seeing in the area. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And you all know what time it is now. It is, of course, time for Facebook Fun and our 48 Facebook question today. What's one subject you wish school had taught better? And for me, honestly, high school, I kind of wish they taught math a little bit better, because I am still struggling with my times tables each and every day. I can do the 5s, the 3s, the 2s, but once I get to those 6s, those 7s, those 8s, it's kind of a struggle for me, I'm not even going to lie. But what I want to know is what you all had to say. What is a subject you wish school had taught better? And let's see what y'all had to say. Lunch. That's what Jack Holt said. Now, My school taught that very well. I was the student who was going back and getting a second, even a third plate back at lunch. I definitely am well educated at that subject. Shannon said government and economics. How to live without a computer or cell phone. I feel that absolutely, Shannon. Jason said credit cards. I do not know too much about credit cards. I'm not going to lie, and kind of tagging along with credit cards, we have Emily who said finance. I did happen to take a financial literacy class my senior year of high school. It was taught by Dave Ramsey, but still not enough. I don't think you can be prepared enough for financial literacy, so I agree with that. Steven said English composition, writing papers correctly. Absolutely, Steven, thank you for commenting. Let's see, I definitely missed one. I think it was Madeline Tolleson. She said government for sure. Alex Whitman Kelsey also said math and financial literacy as well. Seems to be a popular comment, that alongside government, American government, history in our comments, but it's not too late to leave a comment on our 48 Facebook question today. What is a subject you wish your school had taught better? Let us know. We want to know. But y'all, that is just about it for today's Before the Four. Thank you all for sticking around, starting your week off here, your Monday afternoon here. I hope you all have a great night tonight. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.